Hey, I'm Colleen.
Hey, I'm Marco.
What's good? I'm Kaya.
In life, we do so many activities without even thinking about how our body makes us capable to do them, such as walking, driving, or doing simple exercises at home. In all of these different everyday activities, you use your brain, which you obviously know. A specific part of your brain controlling voluntary movements and muscle coordination is called the cerebellum. Certain people in this world don't have the same abilities as we do, and all this goes back to our biological makeup.
Today we're going to take a closer look at a specific disease known as cerebral palsy, or CP, which affects people's ability to move, communicate, and live a simple day-to-day life.
So you're probably wondering what CP even is. Well, the word cerebral pertains to the brain and palsy pertains to paralysis. CP is due to the damage of the cerebellum or basal ganglia in the brain during pregnancy or right after birth. It can possibly be genetic, but it is very unlikely. Signs when first born include abnormal feeding, abnormal reflexes, abnormal muscle tones, and abnormal movement patterns. As a child gets older, these symptoms become more severe and obvious, but it is only because their bodies are progressing.
This is a non-progressive disease, meaning it will never get more severe over time. Individuals with CP can experience pain from abnormal movements and muscle contractions, intellectual disabilities from lack of social contact and lack of adaptive behavior.
In society, people tend to automatically use appearance to conclude how people think or what their cognitive health is. For most individuals with CP, this is the hardest battle of them all, trying to continuously prove to people that they are just like them. Many adults with CP have said that they have been spoken to as a person would speak to a baby only because of how they look. In high school, many have reported being kept out of social activities and bullied because they were thought to not be capable of doing anything.
Many times when people hear the word bully, they automatically think of physical contact or hurtful words, but it can be the unsaid things, judgy looks, no invitations, or no simple hello that can hurt the most. I wish I didn't have to fight the battle of proving myself to people who don't even know me, said one patient with CP.
In California alone, there has been over 40,000 cases where individuals with non-cognitive disabilities have been denied the right to vote. Imagine being looked at like you were below everyone just based off of how you look physically. CP was discovered in 1853. CP has always been a disability where society places an inferior label on people with it. Historically and currently, people have felt alone because they may be physically unable to express themselves. It wasn't until 1969 that the first communication device was produced to give a voice to nonverbal patients. This didn't mean automatically all the social barriers were broken. It was hard to even get your hands on these types of devices for many years, so people continued to be kept silent. Today, they are more accessible for people with CP.
Aside from struggles in social interactions, CP also comes with many costs. On average, the lifetime cost per person is $921,000. There is also added costs for visual impairments, $601,000, and hearing loss, $338,000. These numbers don't even include the out-of-pocket purchases, ER visits, or loss of work time from caretakers.
Now let's take a look at different medical people that would have a role in the life of a person with CP. A physiotherapist helps people with physical disabilities and uses manual therapy to help with movements. An occupational therapist teaches people self-care skills and helps with independence and the ability to live alone.
A speech therapist assists in learning how to speak and control their mouth to be able to make specific sounds. An orthopedic specialist assists in scoliosis that may result in CP and give different braces for backs or hips. A neurologist takes the regular scans of a brain to ensure the brain is healthy because with brain damage comes many other risks.
A psychologist helps with the mental health of these patients because disabilities can cause or contribute to depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. And lastly, a practitioner coordinates all doctors and needs for patients.
All of this assistance is needed because there's no cure to CP, and 550,000 people in the U.S. have been diagnosed with it, 50% being adults. Luckily, there are ways to make living with it easier, including antispasmodic medication, physical therapy, occupational therapy, braces, splints, and specialized equipment to help with movement, orthopedic surgery, selective dorsal arrhythmia, medical-related surgery.
A family supports a person with CP by showing them love that other people in society often don't show them. Families also assist in self-care tasks that people with CP have a hard time completing themselves, along with taking them to their various appointments. In communities, there needs to be accessible areas for people with CP to use their forms of transportation, like wheelchairs and power chairs, to get around the public. In the public school system overall, the money that comes from taxpayers has to continue to be contributed to aids for people with CP and other disabilities. From the point of view of the Catholic Church, humans are humans. Any physical or cognitive deficit does not take away from them being a person. The following two principles of Catholic social teaching express how we should treat people with CP according to the Church. The first principle is rights and responsibilities. The Catholic Church tradition teaches that human dignity can be protected and healthy community can be achieved only if human rights are protected and responsibilities are met. Therefore, every person has a fundamental right to life and a right to those things required for human decency. This includes respect from other people instead of being looked down upon. The second principle is care for God's creation. We show our respect for the Creator by our stewardship of creation. Care for the earth is not just an Earth Day slogan. It is a requirement of our faith. We are called to protect people and the planet, living our faith in relationship with all of God's creation. People with CP are God's creation too, so they must be treated with love in order to be living our faith. Geneva Tino is a 25-year-old woman who lives with CP. Geneva has learned a lot in life about how to manage her CP and how to advocate for herself using her communication device because she is nonverbal. In 2014, Geneva began a blog where she writes about her day-to-day experiences, her triumphs, her failures, and her feelings so she can be heard in the world. One quote from her blog says, "What I want is to have people who might be in the same boat as me read my blog and realize that they are not alone in what seems like a constant battle with society and their perceptions of what normal people should look like." Another quote says, "There is a constant reminder that I was different to my peers in class, and I could never fit in with them, whether it was them not wanting to or not having the time to get to know me as a person, regardless of my disability. I don't know, but I felt quite isolated in the mainstream setting." Geneva didn't let social barriers stop her from pursuing a career in public relations. She's a successful young woman who graduated in 2017 with a degree in communications. Overall, we must continue to break the social walls between people with and without CP and other disabilities.